the schools. If you're looking at Clemson or any of the USC schools, including upstate, don't contact any of us until about the third week in January of 2020. If you're looking at any other school, call them. Call the financial aid office when you get that second text. More than likely, they'll tell you when to look. We don't even have the Pell chart from the Department of Education yet. So we'll get an EFC, but we don't know what that means. So until we get all that information, we can't actually start processing. But we will tell you, look at Self-Service Carolina the third week in January, or call us and we'll tell you what you need to do. Because just because you do your FAFSA tomorrow night, if you don't follow up and satisfy any requirements until July, all this first come, first served money's gone. So you need to make sure you stay proactive with this process. Write the person's name down. Know who they are, so next time you call, you can ask for that individual and you can build a relationship with them. Could be dad or mom is a veteran and you have some VA benefits that you've transferred to your son or daughter. You need to contact VA, get what's called Certificate of Eligibility, COE, make copies of it, and take it to the schools that your son or daughter is considering. We cannot process until 30 days before classes start. So your son or daughter will have a schedule at that time normally, and we can process. What about if the student has a disability? Okay, it could be something you don't even consider a disability, like ADD, but they're on a 504 plan, IEP, maybe taking some medication. It could be something that they had surgery on, maybe back surgery years ago. You don't consider it a disability, or it could be a true disability that you're living with every day. After you've completed your FAFSA and you get a financial aid award letter, you need to contact South Carolina Vocational Rehabilitation. They're on Church Street, going towards Arkwright, away from downtown, on your left. They can help you with additional funds, such as money for tuition, room, board, transportation, and meals. If it's a visual impairment, and I keep putting these on and off, wearing glasses is not a visual impairment. If you had astigmatism, blindness, eye surgery, something extensive, then you would go to South Carolina Commission for the Blind. You have two choices, Rock Hill or Greer, whichever you think's nearer. Call either the Commission for the Blind or Voc Rehab, make an appointment with a counselor, and you'll start, again, a relationship, and they will be able to help you with additional funding. If you do have a disability, don't stop there. We are not allowed on any application to ask you if you have any type of a disability. About 20 years ago, somebody met up with the American Civil Liberties Union and they sued some school saying they were using it discriminatory. They weren't, they were just trying to place the student. However, we can't ask that question, but each office has a disabilities office, each school. So you'll need to meet with the disabilities office, and whatever is determined, we have to meet your need. If it's visual impairment, you may need some special equipment. If you need a note taker, we're required to provide a note taker. If you need extended test time, we're required to accommodate you. But unless you self-disclose this to the disabilities office, we have no idea, so we won't be able to help you. So make sure you do that. And lastly, what if 2018 was a pretty good year? Geez, that's 2 years ago by the time you start college. Something could have happened in 2019 or 2020 to change the picture. It could have been a divorce. It could have been the death of a parent. It could have been a serious illness with tons of medical expense. It could have been that you lost your job. It could have been you lost your home and you're rebuilding from the ground up financially as well. Anything that's different in 2019 or 2020 as opposed to 2018, you need to contact the financial aid office after your FAFSA has been submitted. Nothing can be done until your FAFSA is submitted and they get it. Again, if you're in the USC system, we won't even have the paperwork ready to send you into January. But that doesn't mean SMC won't, or that doesn't mean SEC won't, or Winthrop won't. So contact the schools and start talking. So if you made $150,000 in 2018 and in 2019, 2020, for whatever reason, it's $60,000, they'll be able to take that 150 away and put 60 in. It's called a professional judgment. Now, of course, you'll have to provide documentation, but you'll be able to do that. They'll be able to take the money away, do a recalculation, and your financial aid package will change totally. However, only the school that you're attending can do that. So if you're going to go to Columbia, but we all know Upstate's right down the road, and you go to Upstate and you get Upstate to do a professional judgment, it's only good at Upstate. It's not good at Columbia. So you need to invest your time, call them. You may even have to go down there or just mail it and get the school that you're attending to complete your professional judgment, because it's only good at that school. Now that's basically all of the FAFSA I want to talk about. Does anybody have general questions about the FAFSA? Sorry, my voice is kind of giving out. Okay, on the back of this coral color sheet, melon color, the WINS program, which is a new program from the South Carolina Education Lottery. It's only good at technical schools in South Carolina. So if you're considering Spartanburg Community, York Tech, Greenville Tech, pay close attention to this. It's based upon STEM majors. It's based upon you not having enough money to meet your tuition and fees. There's extra money there for WINS. Thank you. So that's something you want to pay attention to. When I was here doing the scholarship workshop, I introduced you to the teaching fellows. But on the back, I want to introduce you to the South Carolina Teachers Loan. Totally different program. Remember, we want that pie cut into as many slices as possible to equal the whole pie to fund your education. So if you're considering education, consider the teacher's loan. If you teach in South Carolina, either in a public, geographical, or subject critical school, you will be forgiven your loan. It's 30% a year or 20%, depending upon which the criteria may be. I can tell you legislation is now in the House to have all majors, whether you're a history major, art major, at all grade levels, considered critical because of the teacher shortage. So that may come into effect. The application for the teacher's loan will not be available until late February, mid-February. It's due early April. So what I would do is just mark that calendar, 1st of February, call South Carolina Teacher's Loan. They'll put you on the mailing list. So that way they'll mail you an application. And lastly, I'm not going over this. If you have any specific questions, I'll be glad to answer them. But we talked in depth about the lottery programs, Palmetto Fellows, Life, Hope, Lottery, when we were here back in September, or actually it was August, for the scholarship workshop. So if you have any questions about that, I'll be glad to answer them, but I do not want to delay your evening any longer. So any questions overall for the good of the order? No questions, okay? Do you have anything else to say before we close? Okay, nothing. We're adjourned. I will be here afterwards if you have any questions. Thank you all and have a good evening.